sweating my butt off, y'all. And I hope y'all hear me okay. I ain't got no towels over here, do I? Yep, we're going to be using the the shirt. It has hit the 80s in Arizona. I'm going to be on here for a little bit. I'll talk about what I talk about. I'm going to give about 5 minutes, see if anybody comes in. I am late. I had to go to the bathroom. My car, so the car got hit by the neighbor. She backed into the door right around Christmas time. Her insurance carrier, I'll talk about after they fix my car, was kind of special, and they took forever, which the company I work for, that would have been a decided thing. It wouldn't have been taking that long. She backed into the door of my car, fixed the car. It was parked, not occupied. I was taking groceries in and out. The blessing and how God works, and praise God for him, is I was going in and out to get groceries. I did stop to go to the bathroom. And then when I came out to go to my car, I cut my finger, and I don't know how I cut it. So I'm putting some ointment on here to deal with the cut. I just did and I had to do that too. So the car, anyway, she backed into the car. She with some dude. They were Anglo. I don't try to be mean anymore. I'm old. I was not happy, and I walked out, I'm like, what the? I'm taking the groceries in and out. I took my first set of groceries in. Once the groceries came in, I pretty much went to the bathroom. Then I went back out to get the remaining groceries. I stopped because I had bell peppers growing, and I thank God I stopped. This is why I say Lord works out for me, because there's things that happen sometimes, and you don't realize why you do what you do. But later when you look back, you're like, okay, God was working it out for me. She would have hit me getting the groceries out the car, because she wasn't looking. So yeah. People. Let me see if I can give an example. Here is my hand. My back of my gate is like this, and my car is parked like where my thumb is at, right next to my gate, right? Their complex is right here where the parking is. So when they walk out their complex, they are facing their parking area, and they're facing their car, and they're facing my fence, and they're facing a lime green car in bright sunny Arizona. These two children get in their car, facing my car, get in the car, and she backs directly into my car. You aren't paying attention to your surroundings. You weren't even paying, and I know what they were. They're like this, walking, because these children now, they walk with the phone. I had a girl almost walk into my car while it was moving in the parking lot. I'm going for it. She looking at the phone, ain't even looking. Almost walked right into the car. I humped my horn, and she's like, what's wrong with you? It's not that critical, guys. Granted, this is cool. We got a lot of stuff. This phone has become like a little computer. But people are addicted. Flatbed homie, what's up? How you doing? Where you at in the country? Can you hear me okay? I'm rambling right now because I was trying to give about 5 minutes. I was 2 or 3 minutes late. I cut my finger. I don't know where. I had a Band-Aid in my pocket. I brought my ointment in here, and then I don't know. I lost the Band-Aid. I don't know if I pulled it out when I was putting stuff in my pocket, or if I pulled it out when I was getting my phone out. I got nets, and so I got a new device, and it's doing okay. I'm not gonna say it's excellent. I think the fan needs to be stronger. But anyway, my gnat issue, I've been using the Zevos, but with the garden back there, and Linda told me everybody got gnats. It's called stem. Y'all see it? I'm gonna see if you can see it. It's called stem. And it's similar to Zevo. They also have their own plugins. Their plugins don't rate as well as Zevo. And I'm gonna be honest, I love Zevo when it first came out, but they changed the inserts for Zevo. And in my humble opinion, they're not as good as the original inserts. The original inserts were translucent. They've made these new ones. They're like a kind of a whitish material with the Zevo logo. They should have left it alone. Whatever happened, it doesn't draw the gnats as well as it did with the other one. Girl, you did not have toxic. Wait, I gotta read the name. Where are my glasses? No, I can't see. I'm old, baby. Hold on. Let me get these glasses. What is that? Girl, the name. I gotta go back. Hold up. Hi, baby. Toxica? Or Toxica? ToxiQ. ToxQ. ToxiQ? Girl, how you say it? I want to know how you say it. It bothers me when girls walk with their heads in their phone. That's what predators. I got a story to tell you, girl. You done already opened up a door. Toxic, okay. But the name, I like the, I love me. She said toxic drama. It's like, I cannot deal with it. I love it. I don't know if you mean it. I'm not about the toxic drama. If that's what you mean, me and you right here. Look, I recently let go of a 20-year friendship because of drama. I love it. Toxic. It was like, look, I'm gonna help you out. Leave it toxic Q. Anybody that got drama go into the toxic queue, which means you get the peace sign. I'm done with you. Oh, you see that rhyme? you see that rhyme? You know I got no sense. Shannon is getting freedom in her old age. Oh, okay. So speaking of, you said I hate. So let me tell y'all a story. I was when I lived in Tempe later on in life. And y'all gotta fly. He been doing stuff. I got gnats. So if you see me do this fly, he liked to be in my ear yesterday. I don't know if he died because I got a whole bunch of stuff trying to catch him. He a hole. I've also seen they did our roof. So prayerfully, I did what I need to do for my pest control. I'm gonna get to all of those. Thank you. I will talk about all of them. So real quick. So they did my roof, and they did the roof, the banging, whatever, and I think they stirred up the critters between the other apartments. So I saw a couple, and I hate roaches. I hate bugs in general, but roaches. So I did my boric acid. I'm gonna do diatomaceous earth. You can make a homemade roach bait. Very easy, very cheap. 4 boiled eggs. Take out the yolks after they're boiled, hard boiled. Take the yolks, put them in a bowl. And I believe if you have dogs or cats, you need to use, I think it's baking soda. You can research for it on YouTube because that's where I found it. If you do not have pets, use boric acid. So 4 egg yolks. Have a 1/4 cup of sugar, add to the egg yolks. I would say mash the egg yolks first and then add the 1/4 cup of sugar and then a 1/4 cup of boric acid. Blend that until that stuff look like Play-Doh, okay? Once it looks like Play-Doh, you can take it, and some people do it like a smear, and they put it in corners of the drawers, in their cabinet. I roll mine into balls because it's easier for me to take it out later after it gets old and hard. But apparently what it does, the bugs, and it'll kill ants, roaches, silverfish, any kind of bug that eats that, is going to kill them, okay? And they also take it back to the nest. So it also helps with that part of it too. Tiffany, what's up, baby? My glasses, so my vision has changed. My distance vision has gotten better. He told me it's almost 20/20, but my close-up vision has gotten worse. So, and I don't know if that's changing because of diet and loss of weight. I don't know if it's the Ozempic. I've also decreased my metformin. We're going to talk about all of that. We're gonna talk about that, but I want to get back to toxic. I got this, girl. Tiffany, baby, hey, how you doing? Everybody, tell me how you doing, where you at, and what's your weather? Because I'm gonna tell you, it's been hot as Hades here, and that means we're gonna have a hot summer right now. So, cell phones. So, cell phone is one. The other one that can get you is even if you're not looking at your cell phone. I had my earbuds in, not these, but I had a set of earbuds in. Oh, food. See, even though I can't eat like I used to, first thing my crazy butt think of is food. I love me some Louisiana food. My mother's mother was from Louisiana, so which is probably why they cook like they did. And they were from Louisiana. I love me some gumbo, boudin, girl, wow, jambalaya. Yep. So toxic. I had the earbuds in. I'm walking. I'm not paying. I'm bopping my head to the music. I'm in TMP, and was I driving at the time, or did I not have a car? I didn't have my car. So I didn't have a car at the time. I'm just trying to bounce back, getting back here back in the day. First, it was second time trying to come back and go back to normal corporate life. And I'm bobbing my head, I'm going to the post office. All of a sudden, when I open the door, a hand comes over me, and I jump, and it's a cop, and it's a brother. I take my earbud out, and he said, always pay attention to your surroundings. Anything that's distracting you, especially being a female, you really, really, really need to pay attention. And I had never really thought about it. And I think it's the ignorance of youth, and it's also our ignorance in technology. And always, because nothing really bad has necessarily happened to you. Something has in my youth, but you just don't really, sometimes we get so caught up in just being in our own bubble, we're not aware that predators are all around. So Toxic, you hit that on the head. And so this baby, she walking with her phone, almost walked right into my car. I see him do it in the drive, walking across streets. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Because if somebody's not paying attention, they're just gonna run you over. You're gonna be dead. You ain't gonna get a chance. Your family might get paid, but you done. Because the phone is so important that you walking across a street. I don't even care if it's a crosswalk and you got the right of way. You don't. My crazy mother used to have a saying: you got bumper on your butt. You ain't got no bumpers on your butt. There's nothing that's going to stop you from dying, okay? You also have to watch it now with drivers. These people that just, one of the reasons this girl backed into my doggone car. And because as I'm walking out, I'm seeing her, I'm like, hey, bam, the car is hit, right? And they get out, their heads pop up. What were you looking at? You're steady backing straight, and you back into, y'all, my car is literally, it's a metallic lime green. It was a bright, and Arizona is a desert, right? So the sun shines a lot here. There's no overcast, very rarely. It was a bright, sunny day. Crystal clear blue sky with a few clouds, but the sun was blaring. My car is extremely, and another friend who works for another insurance company, she said, Shannon, how the hell did they miss your car? I said, it's the children. It's these 40 and unders. They Lord help them. So I said, they addicted to their phone. They don't think. They do stupid stuff, and they're freaking weird. They're weird. Granted, we had issues in my day, but as one of the older mothers who has passed on from my old church, she said, no, baby, y'all might have been different, but something wrong with them. And put the glasses back on because everything blurry. Hold on. Girl, I can't. And I seen it. I know exactly. Or they looking down riding the bike across streets. I got nothing. I ain't got nothing. It's a conundrum. They're addicted to it. It's so. I hate going to a restaurant where all I see is the whole table and everybody in their phones and scrolling, ain't nobody talking. I'm like, why y'all should just all order something separate and go into a room. Why y'all even here? One of the things of going out is to socialize and interact with people, or if you're going to go out by yourself, go out by yourself. I've been doing that a lot lately, and I'm enjoying it because I'm getting older, and my tolerance for a lot of weird stuff has really gone out the door. My friendships have diminished. Joe and I don't talk anymore. There's some things went on with him, and I'm just like, you know, and God bless him. I hope he gets it right. I hope he gets whatever he get with the Lord. I need peace. And you will not talk to me crazy. I don't care if you ever done me a favor. There's just ways you treat people. I don't talk people crazy I've done favors for. I don't need to talk to you crazy just because I helped you with something. And I've helped people in my day when I was in better shape. You're not gonna talk to me, and does it in order thinking you're controlling something, because in his family that's what they do. There's a way that he can snap or pop off, and then you're controlling the narrative. No, you can do that over there in the Spanish household, but over in this household, or this little black household right here, African American household, absolutely not. Say, I can be alone by myself. You will not manipulate me. You will not talk to me crazy, and absolutely not. And he's done it before. He's done that snapping before. And it's his way of controlling or feeling important. And I will put you back in your place. I have no problem doing that. And I don't have a problem being by myself. Because actually, when I came out of the cray cray household and was living with my grandfather, I was pretty much a loner, other than my friend Jane, and even me and her. I was living so far away. We talk on the phone every so often. We would hang out every so often, but we were distant. So I don't have a problem. And she actually helped me with really dealing when I was growing up, because I was such a loner. She helped me because I do have a very introverted side. Hold on. Girl, no, my mama is not, can't even talk to me crazy no more. Girl, bye. She got dismissed. Because let me put this to you. I believe parents should discipline, but I believe there is a part of parenting that's abusive. My mother was extremely abusive on all levels. Verbally, mentally, emotionally. She was physically. She every freaking level you could think. My mother was jacked up. You have to go back and hear me talk about being raised in the pervy dad and all that stuff, and her being married to that crazy man, and then accusing a 9-year-old child to a good friend and, well, kind of an aunt by marriage, that you think I'm having an affair with a girl, something wrong with you. You crazy as hell. What you should do is find out about this nigga sneaking in my room and open up clothes and look at body parts and jacking off by my bed. That's what you need to handle. But you don't want to handle that because he's more important than your child. And you knew he was jacked up when you married him. Next. I think somebody's delivering a package. Yeah, hold on. I ordered a, so I burn incense. I burn a lot of candles. And I like wood wicks. Well, I noticed the wood wick candle I've gotten a lot of smoke sediment, but also the air conditioning, they don't clean it out. So I ordered I have one down here, but I'm going to order probably one more. And I ordered an air purifier. So I ordered another one. I'm getting ready to set those up in rooms. I still have to set my desk up, but I've got 4 days off the weekend in the 20th. So I got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. I thought for a minute of going out of town, but I still got to get this apartment in order. So there's stuff I need to take to Goodwill. And I'm like, you know what? That 4 days needs to be spent here. I got a couple of medical things that I'm going to probably bump up to that date, but that's it. All right, backing up to Flatbed's question. Weight loss, first off. So for those who are new here, I'm on Ozempic. I was 446, 43 pounds when I started Ozempic. I was in trucking for a while, and I will tell you, I put on probably close to 100 or more pounds in trucking. While I enjoy doing the trucking, it is not good for your body, which I had a doctor tell me that back when I worked at the University of Phoenix, and she would call in to do some extra training that she wanted to do, her classes. And she was a retired physician, and she said, good thing you got out the field. I did go back in for a temporary period of time, but my body really started feeling it, right? So I got out. Well, by the time I got done with trucking and y'all can go back to my first videos and you can see where I'm at. Well, you can probably see in my face. You guys don't see all of me. I'll see if I can put a picture up from where I was standing in the bathroom at my job. And I'm going to have a roll later. So I was 446, 43, something like that pounds starting on Ozempic. I started that back, it's been over 6 months, I think. And I started at that weight because I was starting to have mobility issues in my knees. I could barely walk around this apartment, and my knee pain was through the roof. I was using a hamper to get around, right? So I ended up, and I'll get back to the bugs too. So real quick, let me jump back real quick. The roach bait. So I saw, because anytime I see more than one, if you see one, that's all she wrote for me. I'm starting to work on my bait. So, and I put that out, and last time it took care of it. I saw like 2, and next thing I know, I didn't see any. Well, I saw one in my bathroom, one in my hallway, and a dead one in the kitchen. We got to go and reapply. So I created a new bait. I mopped where I had and swept where I had the old boric acid, put that under all shelving, counters, everywhere where I could put boric acid, non-dish area, right? You can use diatomaceous earth for where you put your cabinets where your food and dishes are. I put the boric acid behind the refrigerator, behind the stove. Those are areas we know that they like to go. Under sinks, anywhere under a sink, do a good puff of the boric acid and or diatomaceous earth. If you have pets, obviously diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is not going to hurt the pets. And also food grade diatomaceous earth. Please, food grade diatomaceous earth. We're going to talk about school too. Oh, you going to school? Good for you, Flatbed. Diesel Tech, it is 10-month course. Okay. Right here. Nikki's working on something. Trucker Nikki, we'll talk about that in a minute. Still praying for her, and we'll see how that comes out. I'll talk about that in a minute. Y'all keep her in prayer because she's also trying to come out of over-the-road trucking. Oh, prayers for you on that. Prayers for you. So I'm going to prayers for you on all levels. So the Ozempic, if you decide to go that route, I'm not sure where your weight is. I can tell you with under 6 months, I went from 446 to 380 in my last weigh-in. I do need to start going to the gym. I'm waiting on my bonus, and then I'm probably going to go over here and join 24-hour fitness. Is that 20? What's the name of the place? That's not it. Planet Fitness. I think that's it. They 24 hours. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. I'm going to join them. I was really struggling, but, you know, I can't control some of the political things these crazy butts got into. I think that some people have also started, what's the word I want to use? Boycotting them, because they actually in some of their facilities had signs up that that ICE was welcome and whatever to. Okay. So that to me was, honey, these people aren't, y'all see what they did over in Minnesota and killing them? Why are you supporting crazy? You know, and you think that's because we got crazy and you're going to support the crazy just because they in office don't mean what they doing is legal. We all realize that what they doing is not legal, okay? Woosah. So I went from 446, 43, whatever it was, 440-ish to 380. You can definitely see I got to work. I'm going to have obviously have skin cut, but I do need to go work out and start trying to tone. I need to order a hernia belt for my stomach. As a matter of fact, I do an Ozempic shot tonight. I'll be doing that tonight. I am having some back issues, and my gut is still funny. They did the Cologuard. I didn't go for an actual colonoscopy. I may see about us doing the colonoscopy still so they can get in there and just look, make sure everything's okay. But sometimes my gut is really funny. That could be the fact I do have a huge hernia. I have 2 hernias. I have one below the belly button and one on the top. The one on the top, it's massive. It's huge. It bulges out like about that. It bulges up and out. So you can definitely see it. And as the weight comes off, it's going to become more apparent. But I have to be half of my 443, 46 body weight in order to have it operated on, because what they'll do is it's called a repair. I think there's a mesh that goes over it, and it has to be a repair. If we do that, I'm probably also going to have them take off some of the skin for the stomach as well, because I might have that much weight. So I'll probably be able to hopefully do all of the above. We'll talk to whoever the surgeon is that I end up getting for that. But that's where the goal is. So I need to get down to half this body weight. But I haven't seen 300 pounds in a minute. Well, when I went into trucking, I was in the 3s. I ain't seen it since then. So, yeah, the weight's better. My lower back has issues still. I still do use the rollator when I'm at work. And the reason I do it is because there's a lot of me moving from the parking lot into the building. Then I'm have to go to the bathroom, break room, whatever. That's a lot of movement. And so while my knees are doing much better, my back is bad and my equilibrium is still off from probably whatever happened with the heart. I still have a balance issue to my right. If I don't use the rollator, I am using a cane, and I'm okay with the cane, but I do know that my equilibrium is off for my right side. I can walk without it, but I can tell my right side something happened. The heart doctor I went to, they did a ultrasound of the heart. So they looked at it through, ultrasound of heart or whatever. Nothing there. He didn't show signs of stroke, but he said a stroke or heart attack, but he did say something about thickening of the heart. My doctor's office, before she retired, she did an EKG and she said she showed sign of what might have been a stroke. He looked at what she's saying and he like, nah, Now, that's not her specialty. She was, I think, either internist, MD, whatever, internal, whatever. She's that doctor. This guy was a cardiologist. Granted, I was so on him. And I won't ever go to that group. So I go to, you know how they have like health facility groups, health groups, medical groups. I go under a medical group and they refer to a bunch of doctors under their group, right? I don't have to go there. I did go ahead and get the top insurance we had at my company, because of my age. So I do pay a pretty penny for insurance out of my check every payday. But because of my age and because of my underlying health issues, I did that. With the weight loss, though, that I've had, my A1C, which was never really bad, my A1C's in the sense of somebody who's borderline diabetic, my A1C stayed usually in a range of 6.3 to 6.7 at the highest, right? My A1C on the last 2 checks was 5.8. So they took me off. I was doing metformin 500 milligrams 2 times a day. They took me off of 1 time. So I'm now down to 1 time a day in the Ozempic. Eventually, I may end up just on Ozempic only. Now, with all the madness with our government, my Ozempic was costing me out of pocket last year $25. Granted, it's an expensive medicine, so I'm still grateful that the insurance is covering as much as they are covering. But now I'm paying $50 every time I go pick up the pen. And that pen lasts for, I think, 4 weeks, 30 days. So it's now $50 every time I pick up a pen. My other medicines usually are now $75 to $100, so about $150 altogether. So and normally the supplies of my other medicines are for 90 days. So that's what, $25, 90 days, 3 months, like 30 some dollars every month, something like that for the other ones. So it hasn't been bad. But yeah, other than that, that's good. Now, flatbed interviewing, let me go back. Toxic, exactly. Yes, earbuds, just make sure I miss nothing. Okay. Okay, hold on, I'm trying to make sure I got all the questions. School, I know I missed something. Okay, school, and I'm happy you're going. So, I'm not going to mention everything now because I'm back in, and I will tell the story once I get my degree from these people. Y'all will understand why. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? And I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that. We're going to talk about it. But I don't want to get all into it right now. So the school took me through this weird financial aid audit. They asked for taxes for 2022 or whatever. Next thing I know, I get it to them. And next thing I know, they went line by line over my taxes, had me redoing tax paperwork, had me doing all these forms. And then ultimately, they sent the money that was to cover my last 2 classes back to financial aid. I don't have the money to pull out the crack of my butt the last 2 class money because the school I'm going to, God forgive me, I'm just keeping it 100, is pricey. I'm going to tell you I owe $60K right now on financial aid, and I'm still got 2 classes left, okay? Now, 14 of that was from trucking school. Facts. Toxic. We're going to talk about it later. I got to finish the degree, which I should have by May. And then I'm going to let y'all know what my assessment and all of what took place. I will let you know I had to get my tax guy involved. He was having to redo a whole bunch of stuff. It was madness. It was straight madness. I have no idea why. It was I've done financial aid. This is the 3rd school. Each school has asked me for 1040s when I filed. Way back when I went to trucking school, that was financial aid. I took some junior college courses over at one of the community college here. That was financial aid. And they did ask, hey, we need your 1040. Here you go. None of them ever went line by line and had me changing stuff and refaxing stuff and asking me for more financial information. I have no idea what that was. I will tell you the young lady that I dealt with initially had gone out on a leave. I didn't know she was pregnant. She had her first baby. She happened to be, at least I think she's African American as well. And I'm not saying she was doing me any favor. I think she was doing her job. All of a sudden, when I reached back, because before she went, she said, hey, the financial aid office is asking for your 2022 1040. Not a problem. I'll get it over to you. I sent it. Well, by the time I sent it, she's out. So now I'm dealing with her boss. I didn't talk to him, but I got a feeling. I could be wrong. Y'all see me, right? I could be wrong. The boss kept coming across weird stuff. I'm getting this over to this office, and I don't know who was working on my stuff in the background, or if it was him. I don't know. All I know is things went really weird. And all of a sudden, I got my tax guy. And then when I put my tax guy in the communications back and forth, that's when things went really weird. And they're like, oh, we sent your taxes. We sent your financial aid back until we get XYZ. And I said, you should have said something before that happened. And that's why I copied my tax person in. By me copying him in and telling him, you guys, give you guys whatever you need, you could have been directly communicating. So then he's like, when you get that in, and once we approve everything, we can request the money back. Really now? Let me help y'all. I should have been graduated, like, I think it was August of last year is when I should have graduated, right? Hold on. Let me think about this. When did they start this, man? It's been almost a year. Was it August? Somewhere before August, like, because it started, all I remember is April or May is when they asked for this. It was weird. And it's been almost a year. I've been out of the school. I haven't been taking any classes. Then they kind of was trying to like have me come up with the money for the courses. I ain't got that money. We're gonna have to wait. I reached out to the company I work for because the company I work for does pay for courses. The thing is that the degree, and they pay for degrees. The degree I have is not, it's a religious degree. It's theology, biblical studies. It's not part of one of the programs that's under the umbrella of the company for the job that they would cover. And so it would have been an exception. I did file, never heard back, which meant it was probably a no. One of my managers was trying to work with it, got some people to sign off, but I never heard back from the education group. So I just left it alone. And that's okay. So then all of a sudden, after they realized, oh, she ain't gonna just, I guess, not come out of pocket for these 2 classes, then all of a sudden they say, oh, your audit was approved. You'll just need to reapply for the financial aid. I thought y'all told me y'all could contact them and get that money back. Then it also triggered me making payments. Okay, so that triggered also madness. So at this point, although that was good because it also triggered me handling some of my other financial stuff, because I was like, trigger payments, this, that, and the other thing. Let's go ahead and get this credit cleanup done, because I had paid to do a Chapter 7 a while back. I went ahead. It's been actually Chapter 7 from back when I had the house, and I just never activated it, right? And I had some help with it. So unfortunately, I went ahead and I got all my debts cleared. I got my Chapter 7 done during all this wait time. So it actually kind of worked out. Thank you for the time off from school. I'm holding like a high B, like a 3.6 or something, 3.7 something. I'm up there. So the second to the last class is like the epistles and stuff like that. And then the last class, which I have a problem with, which I'm not happy about either. The last class is a 2-credit course where I have to find an organization to volunteer at, and I'm paying the school to go do volunteer work and to have an organization sign off on it. Really? And the problem is I work a normal job. So again, online schooling is for a lot of people who work. This is not the most convenient course to try to intermingle, because most of your volunteer organizations are Monday through Friday. So luckily I do do donations to a place out here called Phoenix Rescue Mission, which I've been doing it for years. I do it on a regular now, but I started it way back in the day when they were in the newspaper around the holidays. And I was kind of reading, like, oh, okay, I'll do a donation to this place. Well, as I found out more and they started sending me more of what they do, I then made it pretty much every pay period, a ritual to send them something, because my mind, when I see what they do, is there, but for the grace of God go I. In addition, they help people that are similar to my brother who's in prison when they get out, or Nikki. When here, Nikki, you know, again, what she went through dealing with family and ended up locked up for 8 years dealing with family. And, you know, but you got a kid who comes out, gets a job, works, buys a house, lives a life, has not been back in trouble for a long time. And, you know, it helps people like that. It helps women who are in abusive situation, women and children who are in abusive situation. It helps hopefully get people who are fighting drug addiction. Drugs have never been an issue for me, but they are issues in my family as far as either selling and or some of them using, especially on Monty's side. Y'all hear me refer, if you knew, Monty's my father, but I nicknamed him Grumpy Smurf, or Grumpy. So on his side, he sold, he used, and my brother who's in prison, I don't know if he used, I wouldn't be shocked, but he was definitely a person who sold. And yeah, he got a whole bunch of issues. And that's stuff that runs in my father's side of the family. They do all that weird ghetto stuff. So knowing that, and you know, if there's ways for people to come out of that, people who just hit hard times, you know, that this organization helps them. So I like what they do. And so the more I read and the more they did newsletters, and I see they're actually, their main offices are not that far from my house, maybe 10 minutes, if that, literally up the street. So once this class kicks in, I'm going to reach out to one of the girls that I work with there. Am I ashy? I feel ashy. I'm going to reach out to one of the girls that I know who works there, or the lady I deal with who gives me my tax donation document. And I'm going to reach out to her and say, here's my situation. Whatever I do volunteer for, I got to deal with the mobility. I'm not going to be able to lift boxes and do all that. But if there's something you have me to do, I can do that. And I need to do it for, I don't know, it says 2 credit hours. I'm figuring this is a 4-week course because I'm in a 4-credit course right now, and it's an 8-week course. So I'm hoping this is like a 2-week course, if that. The company I do work for, they do have a volunteer program where they give you a certain number of hours doing your work hours, and they pay you to go do volunteer work. I already let my manager know this is something that's coming up, but I don't know if he's going to be my manager because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on at the company right now as well. So I am back in school. I'm in the middle. We're getting ready to head. This Sunday starts my 5th week. So I'm getting ready to head into the 5th week. So I've got 3 more weeks after this week of the course. I'm holding a solid A, holding a straight 4, no, everything 100% across the board. Matter of fact, I'm already ahead of the game. I'm already working on the new assignment for next week, which I will probably have completed either tonight or Monday, and it's not due until Sunday. So that'll be completed, and then I just have little check-in assignments we have to respond to. So what I've been doing with this one is just trying to be on top of it because I want to be done. I know that we were supposed to send something about marching. I'm not marching. I do want the cap. I want the gown. I want the degree. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate you. So it will be a bachelor's in, it'll be a bachelor's in biblical studies, which is theology. It's the undergrad version of theology for them. And then the sad part with what they did with the audit, I've already looked at the schools, so I will be going for my master's, God willing, and I'm still breathing and everything. Church ain't raptured out. And preferably I'll be in the rapture. Look, Lord, come get me from the madness, because everything we got going on is cray cray. So, I will be doing my master's. I have a school in mind. The sad part was I was going to do my master's with the school I'm with. However, based on my experience and me talking to my prior TM, because I was telling him about it, because he said, I'm thinking about going back to school, yada, 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 because our company pays for it. I mean, these people pay $10K for you to get your master's. Thank you, baby. Thank you. This company pays $10K for you to get your master's, right? And I'm like, it's stuff that just... hold on, Toxic, you got a wrench. So if I gave you a wrench, what was your name before? That mean I know you, homie. Because the only way you get a wrench is I have to give you the wrench. I mean, you kick the peoples out if they act a fool back when we used to have a lot of folks up in here. And I had weird stuff, especially when I was in trucking. And I got a hair, y'all. I get my, old people, we start getting whiskers. I got one here, and I got one here. This one right here is real thick. This one's long. But I am going to go in my... What'd I ban you for? I've never banned anybody. Somebody else would have had to ban you, baby. It wouldn't have been me. Yeah, it wouldn't have been me. Because I don't go back through. It's probably I don't know why you banned, but if one of the wrench people do it, that's why. But I would need to know the name. Because if I gave you a wrench, that means you're on there under a different name. But anyway. Which is, yeah. Huh. I have no idea then. That's weird. That's weird. Unless something with YouTube, because they've made so many changes, they might even have that if you come in, maybe it auto gives it to you, because YouTube done made so many changes, I ain't even kept up with it. They send me a bunch of stuff all the time. I'm like, I ain't even kept up with half the stuff they do. Oh, okay. I have no idea. Maybe. Might be. I have no idea. They got, like I said, they've changed even this thing. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm going to be getting another phone. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, yeah, so I know that my next move is it's going to be behavioral counseling. Because I forgot what it's called. I think it's behavioral management or something like that. And my company will pay for it. So my undergrad would tie really good into that. And so they will pay up to $10,000 for your master's. If I'm still there. I'm praying I am. The company is going through a lot of changes. I don't know what's going on. I like the company. It reminds me of it's an insurance company. It's a very old insurance company. But they remind me of an old Motorola, where it's very family intense. A lot of family refers to family in. And like the second person the woman who actually helped fund and was second in command when this company first started was a woman. And during that time was very rare. I don't know. I thought a master's program was a couple of years. I could be wrong. I've got to do some more research, but I thought a master's program was about 2 years. I don't know why I thought that. I could be wrong. It's not, I don't think it's a 4-year program. I think it's 2 years. I'm going to be reaching out to one of the schools here, and the reason, so I will share this since I'm not mentioning the school I'm at. My play niece told me that she researched the school I'm at, and they've been in Arizona for a long time, long time. And she said their nursing program was superb. But as she further researched, she read that there were, and I don't know if it's true or false, they had some racial issues. So she decided, I'm not going to jack with them. So she decided because of what she was researching, she left that alone. I wish she had told me that ahead of time, but then again, I don't know that I would have trusted because they kind of the Black MAGA family. I'm just going to leave that there. So because they think it is a little different. She's sharp as a tech, but they think about other stuff a little different. That's all I got to say. Love her in the Lord, but they think a little different. Okay. And so because of that, I might not have trusted, but I would have liked to know, because then I would have had the red flag. Based on my experience, I am definitely wondering if that did not play a factor, especially because it happened as we're under the current administration with him coming in and making all the changes. I don't know. I have no idea. I just found it very strange because I had never been through anything like that with any institution ever. And it was weird. And it felt shysty because, like I said, as soon as they send the money back, then all of a sudden I got people contacting me about other ways to pay. No, ain't no other ways to pay. If I have to, I might end up losing. I done spent almost, 4 years, or 3 years, whatever, and change, finishing up a degree. I started way back in 1986. So y'all, I wanted to be a heart surgeon. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a medical doctor. And based on a lot of the family drama that I had, all I could think of was, even I love my grandfather, but I saw the dynamics of how screwed up my mom's people were. Even, and love him dearly, but he had issues too. Um, and I have issues. You inherit what's in the line, whether you inherit it because of your experiences or whether you inherit it because of genetics and spiritual things, what I call generational curses. You inherit it. Whether you, and he inherited, I believe, some of his behaviors as well from some of the abuses he went through, under verbal abuses he went through, and probably mental abuses he went through under my grandmother's mother, under on her people. And so my mother's family, they bad. They we got sharp tongues. We can cut you with a knife just by talking to you crazy. They're vicious. They're malicious. They're vengeful. My mother's very vengeful. If they can get you back, they're gonna get you back, and it's not gonna be good. But you know, there's just a lot of damage, and there's damage on a lot of levels. I would like to know maybe historically what happened to my mother's grandmother, because I believe she's damaged from something. I also found both my aunt and my mother, so my mom and her sister, both married pervy men. So the stepfather, the man that my mother, the male, grown male, I'm using man loosely, the grown male, that he was a perv, and then my aunt, her husband also was a perv. Yes, she is alive, flatbed. She lives here in the valley, somewhere in Mesa, I believe it is. I have not seen my mother. The last time I saw my mother, I was 29 years old. I was very, very sick. Shannon almost checked out, right? I have had 2 pulmonary embolisms. Those are clots that hit the lung. And I've had a couple DVTs. That is inherited disorder, blood clotting disorder from grumpy people, from my biological father on his mother's side. So every other person kind of on his mother's side ended up with the clotting disorder. It may be tied to lupus. My cousin Lynette, who has passed on, I think her first bout was as a teenager with the clots. Her mother's battle with the clots, I don't know when they happened, but I do know my aunt had to go for brain surgery trying to remove a clot. And I do know that whatever happened with that clot, she lost vision in one eye because it hit the brain. She did survive it. She did not die of clots. She died of cancer. And I think the cousin Lynette, her daughter, also died from cancer. She had I think 13 kids, if I remember correctly, only one girl and a bunch of boys. Every other person in that line had clots. So Lynette had them, one of the brothers had them, Skip, one of the brothers had them, and it just did like that throughout. So even when I met their offspring, they're my would be great cousins, whatever, great cousins, whatever, even when I met them, matter of fact, I was at Lynette's house a long time ago, back when I was in trucking. I was crashing for a little bit while I was switching trucking companies. And one of the younger cousins of her brother, and the brother was, I think that's Mike's kid. He came in and his leg was bothering him. He was back in Lynette's room talking to her, and she said, "Go out and talk to Doll." That is my middle name for if you're new to the channel. Go out and talk to Doll, and Doll, have her check your leg, because we know the clot ditch. You start to know it because it's in the line. And all I had to do was put my hand on his leg. I felt the heat, and I said, "Is it painful?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You need to get to a doctor. You need to get to probably a hospital, because you got to come off that leg, because if that clot pops somewhere, you're gone." And so my first one I threw to the lung, and it damaged the lung, causing pneumonia, so they didn't catch it in time. It was a doctor that I ended up having that then realized that pneumonia was actually triggered by your first clot, which is why I was having breathing issues prior to the pneumonia problem. Then, as I was healing from the pneumonia, the left leg began to swell. That's clot number 2. So that was the DVT, and this leg swelled really bad. I ended up in a hospital for a week. And then they found the 14-centimeter mass. I had a lot going on, y'all. I was in and out the hospital for a period of 6 months. So from 29 until my 30s, I was in and out the hospital. So 1 month, I was in for a month, for about a week, out for 3 or 4 weeks to heal, back to work for 30 days so I could restart my short-term disability again, went out for the surgery to remove what later became a 17-centimeter mass from my stomach and uterus area. Hysterectomy and all that stuff went with it. Went back to work after I healed, working again, went to cough, blood all in my hands, back out again, back in the hospital, clot in the lung. And so when I first went in the hospital, my cousin Lynette was alive. She got a hold of my biological father and my mother. My mother came to the hospital. Things seemed to be... And I always, even when she came, I tried to get along, right? But she's crazy. And God bless her, understanding her history and her dynamics, the baby crazy as a box of rocks. And I'm sorry for what happened to her. I'm sorry about the jacked up household she grew up in. I'm sorry of all the stuff she had. I have compassion for it. But there is a point where we have to come that we're either going to deal with our stuff or we're going to stay in our mess. Okay. And if we have butthole tendencies, and I was my mother's punching bag. My mom beat the hell out of me as a kid. Throw you against the wall, punch you, kick you. I could tell y'all stories. Beat you with the extension cord. I mean, she was just evil. And she kind of hated me and jealous. My mother had a heavy duty jealousy. And we went to a church where these folks, one of the ladies pulled me aside. She was an educator. And she said, this is between us. She said, but you be really careful with your mom. She's very jealous of you. Now, you're not living in a household. She's just observing it in the church. And I was 13 years old. She's observing it in the church. She sees it. So I didn't know, and I was naive. So a lot of times abuse victims may not be as wise. One of the reasons why I think counseling is going to be very good for me to put under my belt as well. And it's funny because those around me who know me, that's the first thing when I said behavioral, everybody said, oh, yes. That's how because they know I read things. I read things. So, and it's because of what I've been through. It's just what I've been through. So she came, tried to get along with this crazy woman, thinking, hey, she's being compassionate. I'm sick. When I had the opportunity to get out the first time because of the blood clot and walk in, and I could barely walk. So they had me in a wheelchair. I was going to have to go through therapy for walking, practice walking again, because you got to get that blood flowing back through that leg. No, it's something, flatbed, it's something in the dynamics with women and children. And a lot of time, and it's not every mother. What happens, I believe it's for a lot of very damaged females, especially if you find from their childhood prior damages and what comes through the line, okay? Yes. So, and toxic is on it 100%. So it's what comes through the line. And it happens a lot with women who are very damaged. Yes, there are some mothers who are good. I do believe all mothers have some issues. So there are some mothers, like the one lady I know who's a mother of the church. I think she was probably a phenomenal mother to her kids, but she was a major control freak. My former associate, Joe, his mom, I'm sure she loved her family, but I watched that woman. She a massive control freak. She knew how to wield. She sit back in the recliner like she was queen on the, in her recliner like she was queen on the throne, Latino family. And that woman knew how to wield and maneuver her children. I believe she loved her kids, but a lot of women, especially mothers, learn to be very controlling and very manipulative. Then you have those who become abusive. And this is not new. The Bible says ain't nothing new under the sun, and there's nothing new. So we go back in the Old Testament stories and see how women reacted in conjunction with sons and daughters. Women, there is a thing, and I want to find out more about this probably when I move into the behavioral counseling part. And I was thinking about it today, it's weird, on what my focuses would be when I got into counseling. Women tend to lean more into sons. There's a draw that they have, something strange, it clicks, and they treat their boys like they're their dude instead of raising sons. So that's one. You got those two. So you got those two who basically they have made their kids their center, and their kids have no respect for them. There's a level of balance that needs to take place. And there's a way to raise children without an abusive portion. So, for example, the lady who was one of the mothers of the church, she was an educator out here. And she even moved all the way to superintendent of a school district here, right? Principal, superintendent, and an educator in the classroom from, starting out. Her brother was an educator at our university here, and I think he's probably like one of the first Black professors at the university. And I got to be close to the family. And so my Bert, we were, after a Bible study, she had said, everybody was talking about their childhood. I have a portion of my childhood I don't remember at an age where I should recall it. I have blank spots. And when we were talking, like, my Bert said, hey, baby, so what you doing? I said, I don't know. And she said, what do you mean you don't know? And she told everybody, shh. And I said, I don't remember that. And she said, where do you remember at? And I told her. And she said, you got a massive child trauma. So something happened to me, and it could be with Cray Cray. It could be, I don't even know, she might have been messing with another dude. I have no idea. There is a portion of my childhood I do not remember. Yep. And there is also a part of my childhood where I was sent away. I don't know what took place. I ended up in Columbus staying with my great aunt and uncle. So my great aunt was my grandfather's sister, and the uncle was the aunt by marriage that is the one who told me that my mother went to her and had accused me of having an affair with a grown Negro at 9 years. I'm 9 years old. What do you mean I'm having an affair with a grown Negro? Something wrong with you. And if you got that, then that tells me you suspect something about dude. But there were things, like I said, if you go back to my older video and I talk about that family and talk about when we met them and talk about how certain things she said to me, she knew back when I was like 7 years old, this man had, a grown male, and man is loosely, had sexual interest. She knew. She knew, because when I went back, and it's funny because when you're in an abusive household, and when you're in someone who is like my mother, and I don't know if I want to really put her in the female narcissist stage, but she may be. She might fall under that. And narcissists in general are horrible people. Monty, my grumpy, was a narcissist. Yeah, Celeb, you need to go back. I can't remember the video, but I did a video where I talked about, so my sister-in-law and my brother, he graduated from Arizona State University with his doctorate. They were kind enough to reach out to me. Hey, you're going to come to this? And then, oh, we'll come pick you up, because I didn't have a car at the time. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh, hell no. Because then I realized that means I'm going to be, and you can just, no, you're not getting me in the house with Cray Cray. Because I was done. So I got to backpedal to the hospital story. Facts. If you go back to the video, when she got with this guy, I was 7 years old when she first got with him. He came, met me, seemed cool. I didn't know him. Then I guess when they were talking marriage, we went to meet his family. I'm 7. Now, I do remember this much. All I know is they were weird. The parents were weird. I remember that part. Now, prior to 7 years old, stuff that I should remember, I don't. And I only remember bits and pieces of the 7-year-old stuff, okay? So, very, very weird, okay? They got married. We move into great aunt by marriage, a house that she owned in what we call South Phoenix, kind of hood. We're sitting on the side steps. My mother's braiding my hair. My hair wasn't falling out back then. My hair used to be down my back, okay? She's braiding my hair, and we're sitting on the side porch. And she says to me, his brother walks up in the driveway. If him or any of his brothers try to do anything, you let me know. Let me explain something to you. If I get with somebody and I suspect or have a feeling that him or any of his family members or anyone's family members are going to drive, we're not getting married, sweetheart. My first goal as a parent and a woman and a mother is to protect that child, especially if that child ain't his. And even if it is his, my first goal is to let's take an animal, because we see this happen. If y'all can see it. Let's say a mother of an animal dies, can't take care of the animal, whatever. They put that dog in some other dog's kennel, and the dog has puppies. That dog cares for that baby just like it was her own child. her own puppy. Matter of fact, sometimes, but there's certain females that ain't like those ball, all them rocks ain't in the box. Something is wrong with them. They broken. My mother, I know, says she was molested outside of a church. By who? I don't know. When? I don't know. I don't know all the details. It was something she told me later on down the line. My mother also went into her job out here when she was working for the community college. And the boss she had, because it was usually her and another person, low self-esteem women. Low self-esteem women, 100%. And pedophiles usually know who to go after. They know exactly how to go. I definitely believe it's demonic, 100%. Because if Satan gets his foothold into you and damages you as a child, he has kind of his claws in you in several ways for the rest of your life. Maybe you end up gay. Maybe you end up a prostitute. Maybe you end up a stripper. Maybe you end up in promiscuous relationships. Maybe you end up with health issues. A lot of women who've been molested or usually have weight issues and stuff like that. Maybe you end up a drug addict. The laundry list goes on. And I'm not the only one. I can tell you stories. My play niece has a half sister by her father, with another woman. The half sister's mother married a man. The man was locking a door and raping this little girl, right? The little girl tells her aunt. The aunt goes to the mama, and the mama and the little girl leave. I want you to hear this story. I'm going to tell you what the little girl does today. She's grown now. They leave. The mama then goes back to this Negro, leaves the little girl with the family, gets back with this Negro, then comes and gets her. Of course she came and got her, because the only reason he's really with you is he wants her, because he's a pedophile. It is one of the sickest things in families. It is, and because I've been through it, I do want to understand it. I want to understand. I know spiritually, I know it's demonic, but I also want to understand the psychological behind it, because there's other things that are caveats of it. Nikki had a situation too with an uncle, and she went to the grandmother, which is the uncle is the brother of the grandmother, told her, hey, this dude did this. This Negro has molested multiple children in the family. Multiple. They're now, most of them all grown. And grandma treating this her brother. She sent a little girl who says, hey, he did XYZ to me, to his door and said, you can't come to the house anymore. And I didn't want to tell Nikki when she told me the story. She didn't do that to get to him. She did that about you. She was putting you in your place. You weren't supposed to say anything. You're just supposed to let it continue. And now Nikki's grown. She's telling her, oh, so-and-so's at my house. I'm not telling you what I think. I have dealt with multiple people and run across people who have been through what I've been through and then some. And going back to my play niece's sister, this man was locking the door, showing her adult video and screwing her and messing with her and touching her, right? Mama did not stop this. Now he's supposed to be a minister, I don't know, somewhere out in Georgia. She did a video when the Me Too movement was going on, and Vicky said, I need you to watch this. And I watched the video that she did talking about the things that happened to her. It got to authorities, but because there is a statute of limitation where he's at, but they were watching him because he's running the church now, right? She went to her mom. She's like, Mom, why did you go back to this man? Why did you bring me back in the situation? Well, God forgives, and you need to too. You do need to forgive. Forgiveness is for you. But if people are still staying in their wicked actions, child, bye. He is now. He wasn't at the time. But don't get it twisted. I've been in churches where I know that certain things, well, let me rephrase. I've heard that certain folks in the church were accused. I didn't find out till I was leaving. And then I was like, okay, Lord, there were other reasons I was leaving. But yeah, okay, I'm good. I'm out. Let me put this to you. Just because somebody got a title of Christian, minister, all that don't mean that's really what they are. We're seeing that right now. We really are seeing that right now. I am not in shock if the man that was her half sister's stepfather, I wouldn't be shocked. Actually, usually when you have those kind of people, that is something they've done. It ain't new, okay? Especially with children, it's demonic, it's sick, it's twisted. You have a difference of the type of mother I had and the mother that, like my friend Linda said, she said, I wasn't choosing the best male. Her two of her daughters, and they're by different dads. And she said she decided, because she had two girls, she just stopped dating. She said, because they would have had put me under the jail. She said, one Negroes mess with my girls, they would have had to put me under the jail. I was like, clink, clink, because I'm right along with her. Correct. And usually these kind of people, they do exactly what you said. They usually, and something like, so my brothers that I raised for part of their life, these are the sons of the pervy stepfather, right? And I let them know. I let them know because I told them, if you have kids, because I already know there is this thing in us that we want to have a father and a mother. It's an inundated thing that comes from how God created us. The natural order of things is that a child should have a mom and a dad. Now, man has messed that up, and we've gotten so loose in our morals that folks sleeping around, messing around, popping out kids they don't want to raise, right? So they out here just having babies and leaving all over, right? That's just where our world is at. This is where my back is itching, y'all. Use my scissors to stretch my back. It's where our world is at. And so, you've got a lot of these people, and they know whether, I don't know if it's planned. I don't know what it is. And like I said, I definitely believe it's spiritual, but I also do believe people are very cognizant of their issues. You're very aware. People may want to lie about them. People have their own ways of making it their, and I always say, people like to function in their dysfunction. You realize you have a dysfunctional issue. Some do. You know what's right and wrong, and you know that there are certain things that are wrong, point blank period, right? And you operate in those areas. You know exactly what you're doing is wrong, but the demonic draw and force you got on board is that just gross. And they don't do anything to try to deal with it or get better, because they don't. They want to satisfy the pervy, weird, sick appetite. My bigger problem, even granted that person is jacked up, mental, demonic, is the people around them. So in the case of, like, Nikki's very open about her story with the step uncle, which is uncle of the grandmother. When she told this woman, and apparently it is known she's not the only child in the family this man did this to, or a grown male. I don't like man is loose, because a man is not going to be attracted to a child. This ain't the only one in the family. Now, all these other folks is grown now, but this is a known issue with him. Okay? It's a known issue. She invites him by and talking to Nikki like everything copacetic and you know, get over it. Get over it. I'm gonna speak to y'all. Okay, I'm gonna speak to you. I don't talk to my mother anymore. And that was only part of my issue with not talking to her. I finally, because at the time, a lot of times the other problem is the victims in these situations. You're functioning in the dysfunction. You don't realize that people may have used you in order to have something that really just wanted you, and they was just something on the side to get to you. And because that person was so jacked up, I feel sorry for her. My biological mother crazy as a box of rocks. Now, maybe she's gotten better. I don't know. But if you've gotten better, I've never gotten I really apologize for how I raised you. I apologize for all the abuse. I apologize for the things I allowed to happen to you. And I apologize for the things that I said about you to XYZ person. None of that has ever happened. But my other problem is the extended family. who you tell. So I told both of my brothers. Now, my one brother, I love both my brothers. I raised them for a part of their life. To me, they're almost more like my sons than my brothers, right? That's because I raised them from the umbilical cord coming off, change of diapers, all the stuff my mother didn't do. I did that. I was there for the mumps, the measles, chicken pox, all that I was there for. When one of the cousins by marriage broke my brother's leg, I beat that girl's behind. He don't know what I did, but I did. I whooped her behind because I knew what she did. She pushed him on some skates and broke his leg. She was older than me, and I whooped that girl behind. But I'm also the one that while his leg was broken, I took him to the bathroom. I potty trained him. That brother does not even speak to me right now. And that's fine. Whatever his issues are, they are. He idolizes and worships my mom. That's fine. You do that. And I'm not asking them to hate her. What I'm asking them is acknowledge, hey, we are sorry for what she allowed to happen to you. Not, all right, not even sorry. We hate that happened to you. None of that has ever fallen from their lips. Because the normal of it, it's hard to hear, your daddy's a pervert. But it's even harder to hear the woman who came in after she beat the hell out of me and I got away from her, praise Jesus. And she kicked me out because I wasn't being her indentured servant, slave, and punching bag anymore. And my grandfather got me out that madness. That person has never fixed her lips. And so I got done. I got done when I got sick. When I got sick, it did it for me, the treatment, okay? I'm coming back to Christianity at that time. I'm going through that come back to the Lord moment. And I'm going to a little non-denominational church. And my mother now is supposedly Christian. And the only way Christianity really came into the household was me. My father's mother, who I grew up with all my grandparents, with the exception of my father's father. I didn't know him very well at all. I don't know anything. I talked to him one time on the phone as an adult. I never met him, except I guess I saw him when I was a baby, but I'm not going to remember that. I'm a baby, right? But his mother, I grew up with my father's mother. And my father's mother was the strongest Christian person I knew. And that's where Christianity really came in for me. I don't know what transitioned in her life because obviously she changed from who he grew up with. And listening to him, I also realized that mothers, especially new mothers, and especially ones who they weren't married, all that, and Lord knows, okay? And especially if they grew up in really jacked up families, okay? And then also dealing with whatever comes through the generational line, all of it's a lot. But my mother grew up in a household where her sister was the star of the show. She was a favorite child. And my mother and I think her brother were really kind of second class citizens. And my mother was probably the worst of the two. She was a fat child. I don't personally think my mom's an attractive woman. She wasn't probably very attractive. Maybe she would be, but she's been fat all her life that I've known her. All of us, this tells you the jacked upness of what's going on in the household. 3 kids my mother had, we all hit the 400-pound mark, me and both of the other 2 brothers. The one in between me, so there's a 10 and a 9-year difference between my 2 brothers, okay? The one that's 9-year difference from me, very low self-esteem, very, and I'm getting to that. Her Christianity didn't come then. It actually came because of me. So I was a teenager, preteen. I was about 9 years old. And that's also when all the weird molest stuff started with the pervy stepfather. And I also had started my period as well. So I started my period when I was 9. But my mother, I didn't realize it was jealousy. It wasn't, and I really didn't realize, I didn't also understand how jealousy works. So one thing, and I realized this, one thing that happens to a lot of abuse victims by abusers, they tend to make you, especially children, they tend to keep you under such a tight rein. Even with women, I think it happens in abusive relationships with males. They keep you away from other people because they never want you to get the freedom to get free from the crazy that they are. So I did not realize how crazy my mother was until I got away. And I didn't really, even after I got away, realize the level of crazy. I didn't realize the level of damage. I didn't realize the level of control. I didn't realize that I was functioning in the dysfunction of what I was raised in. It really did not click in until I hit 40. And as I started clicking 40, there's something that happens where you start replaying things backwards and you start looking over your life and you're like, aha. And you start seeing the things, right? You start seeing the things. So when the sister-in-law and my brother had asked me to come to his graduation, I did drop something off. I'm very happy for him, very proud of him. But I'm not gonna be up in the room because I was done. When I got sick, I was really sick. When I say sick, I mean I was sick. I was check out the door sick. Okay. It was back-to-back stuff. First was the hereditary blood clotting disorder. I had a DVT that the one they found. They told me if I stepped and that thing moved, I was dead. It was done. It was that large. It was that large. On the screen of the ultrasound, it looked like a grapefruit in my leg. Okay. Then they found the 14-centimeter mass that went to 17 centimeters. Then I threw the final clot to the lung. All of those things, like one of my friends who's a pharmacist back in the day, she's like, most people don't survive from that shiznit. And she used the other word. All of that in God's hands. But when my two parents came in, they were horrible. So my mother came to the hospital because my cousin Lynette, which is not related to her, she's related to me on my father's side, contacted her and said, hey, Doll is in the hospital. She came. And I give that. That should be the bare minimum a mother should do. And she came and she sat, and I'm like, okay, you know, we had interacted, but there had been series of events where every time I dealt with her, she would crack her butt cheeks and dump on, just do evil, malicious stuff. And it was weird. And see, there's some people that allow that and continue to allow that in their life. It was cut for me this was the final straw for me. So she says, so when the first stint in the hospital, because I had to walk again and I was going to be in a wheelchair, they came in the room and the doctor said, you're going to need assistance. Do you have someone at your house to help you? Or do you need us to put you in a nursing facility, right? A rehabilitation facility. My mother says, oh, she can come and stay with me and the boys. I'm thinking, well, you know, that's a really nice olive branch, you know, being this issue that we've had because she's crazy. I was there, I don't even think it was 2 days, if that. And there were people that were going to come from my job that were coming to see me because of the criticalness. There were people from my church. A friend of mine was in town. His name is Anthony. Anthony was in town and he wanted to see me. I have a brother named Anthony too, one of the two boys. And he wanted to see me because he had gotten a message through the grapevine, Shannon is sick. And me and him had hung out, you know, in the early. I'm at this point going through changes. I'm not, this is a guy. It's a guy. So, and my brothers, let me give you ages. So at this point, one was like 17, the other one was 16. Okay, let me help you. If they don't know if they're gay or straight by then, there's a freaking problem. I'm just going to help you. Okay. So at this point, my friend gets a hold of me. He calls me. He says, girl, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I just found out that you're sick. Where are you? I want to come see you, because he was living in DC. He had left Arizona. His mom crazy too. He left Arizona and had moved to DC. And he had come into town as a vacation. I said, oh, you know, I'm getting ready to give him the information. Here she comes with the bully stuff. And my mother was very much a bully. Stumping, because she's a fat woman. So it's about 300-400 pounds herself. Stumping down the hallway. I can't have no gay people in this house. The hell are you talking about? I'm thinking, and then she's going to tell me that anybody that came to see me, she going to question them about whether they straight, gay. That ain't none of your doggone business. At this point, because what she wants to do, my mother is a person that is an instigator of fights. She likes drama because she's crazy. And I got calm. So you have to go back to my old video. I came out the gay lifestyle. Yeah, you have to go back. That's like I said, these are areas you end up in as an abuse victim. Facts. Now, can't tell you every person is gay, straight, that is abused like that. Some Vicky's sister became a stripper, okay? These are some become prostitutes. Some get on drugs. Some end up in same-sex relationships. There's a whole plethora of stuff that usually is a residual of child abuse victims. 100%. Some end up heterosexual in very abusive relationships. There is a plethora of things that happen from kids that go through what it is. But there are also people who say, no, none of that ever happened to me and I'm gay. Now, I probably can go back and look at things in their childhood and in their family line and tell you where it came in at. I'm not the proponent you're born gay. I don't believe that. That is not something I believe. I believe exactly what the Bible says. We are born into sin. There are something in the vents of the family line, something on board that is triggered at a certain point in your life. And I believe it's spiritual. And I also believe that the spirits also can happen from sinful events that happen to you. That's a whole nother conversation. So my mother decides she gonna interview. Well, I got people coming from my job who don't know about my past life. I'm not seeing anybody. I'm single. I'm minding my business. And I'm sick. What the hell does me having to be sick? Well, I can't have a spirit in the house. I got 2 boys. 17 and 16 years old. Let me help you out. If they like men, yeah, that's not something you're going to be able to stop, baby. It's going to be what it's going to be, and they're going to have to deal with that. Crazy as a box of rocks. And no, you're not going to interview my boss and people come to see me. Absolutely not. So I got calm. And it's also, my mother likes to trigger fights. She wants to fight. She wants to argue. She wants to be a bully. I got totally calm. I said, well, I want to thank you for my time here. When you're dealing with a bully and somebody who wants to push buttons because they want to fight, don't give it to them. You win. And I won. And she was pissed. I said, because she didn't get the fight. I said, I'm going to go ahead and go home. All of a sudden, how you going to get? Don't worry about that. I got that. So let me help you how God is good. The gentleman, Anthony, my friend Anthony had been a CNA. My other homegirl, who come to find out while I was in the hospital, this is a person I put down because I really didn't have family help. I put this girl, we had worked together, and a Christian friend of mine, straight as can be. Right? She cared then. No, she was called on. So you have to, it's really a sick and twisted mindset when you're dealing with somebody like my mother, Flatbed. She didn't get what she wanted. It wasn't about, she didn't give a doggone. She's so jacked up in the head. Maybe she does care. I don't know. But that wasn't the main focus of her weirdness. Her focus was she didn't get me to argue with her. She didn't get to scream. She didn't get to fight. It didn't turn into an altercation. That was what pissed her off. So at that point, she's trying to keep me in the crazy so that then she can probably come in with some other stuff. Absolutely the hell not. Also thinking I'm going to be dependent on this because of my health situation. No, let me explain to you how desperate I was to get away from the madness, and I didn't realize that's what it was until now. You will not talk to me crazy. I am done with all of your drama, and that was the final straw. There's other stuff that had transpired because she beat me really bad, kicked me out. There was a girl who witnessed it from my high school, okay? It was drama. I mean, punch me, beat me, stump me through the entire quad of our complex. I'm, at that point, 14 maybe? 14. I know I was going to be a sophomore in high school coming up the following year. And it was bad. It was bad. I ran to the phone at the convenience store barefoot, called my aunt. My aunt then called my grandfather and Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services, who sucks. My best friend's father used to work for Child Protective Service. Child Protective Service, horrible. They came out, and this white woman gonna tell me what a great mother I had. And the girl from my high school who witnessed it is screaming at the top of her lungs and say, you did not see what she did. She stumped this girl. She beat this girl. She punched her. She threw her to the ground. And again, at that point in time, I'm a teenager. My mom's like a 400 or 500 pound woman. I didn't have what it was to fight that. Okay. My body, I wasn't that heavy. And you really, my mom was just vicious. She was vicious. And so that person likes to start drama, and because they're crazy, that they get off on it. These type of people having that kind of drama, it's like sex to them. And I realize that now. It's really a sick thing. There's twistedness. And that's part of the thing also with narcissists. You got female narcissists and male narcissists. You got bullies. There's a whole bunch with the psychology behind them. They're very twisted people, very jacked up people. And most of them have low self-esteem. That's what we're seeing right now. That's what we're seeing right now. And so being a bully, being an a-hole, becoming very non-emotional, at the end, there's something that may trigger something. So like there may trigger something of an emotion, but they're so jacked up. And the sad part is within a lot of the Black culture, I can't speak, and I hate the word Black, but y'all know what I mean, African-American culture, we were always told not to get counseling, not to do that. You know, white folks did that. That's weak. But in reality, from the time of coming out of slavery, we should have been getting counseling, because it jacked up the Black family. And it permeates us even today. It permeates disciplinary actions. It permeates how we interact. Now, I'm not one who's going to believe in just sitting here having a psychological conversation with a child. I do believe in spanking a child. I believe in tearing some tail up. But there's a level of discipline, and then there's a level of what's called abuse. And my mother was highly abusive. So when this triggered, I'm like, I'll be fine. Well, who's going to take care of you? Don't worry about it. I got that. At this point in my mind, here's what I'm thinking. I don't care if I have to drag my dead body around this house. I've got to get away from you, and I never want to see you again. That did it for me. Because if you cared, you would have never come off that way. I'm not bringing no girlfriend in the house. She also had accused, so that one of my friends who came with me to the hospital, I call her Cubby, but her name is Lisa. Christian girl I had met, and we worked together at Sprint back in the day. It was U.S. Sprint. We were long distance operator. We're still friends to this day. She's one of my beneficiaries even to this day. I didn't have anybody in my family that I felt that I could go to and say, hey, handle my finances. Now, on Monty's side, I wasn't close enough to none of them, and all of them, no offense, Monty's side people very hood, right? So I probably wouldn't have had no money. Here this is, and I mean not blood, but just really kind of like family to me. And she was a very sweet Christian girl. I used to do a Bible study with her. Yep. It's one of the most ignorant things ever. And it's sad because based on the abuses that we've suffered as a people, we need therapy. We need counseling. We got a whole bunch of stuff. And it has permeated us. It's permeated us on a lot of levels. And we have a lot of very broken and jacked up people. It's one of the big things also that has permeated the Black family. One of the reasons why we have a high number of our people who don't stay in marriages, fathers that don't raise kids. And it stems out of some of the slavery stuff. Absolutely 100%. Okay. But my biological mother, the thing, I can't say it was a care thing. I think it was she didn't get what she wanted. Because I was so calm when I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go home. Honey, I set the wheels in motion. I made phone calls. By the time it was over, the same guy that she didn't want coming in her house, he said, I'll come to the door and help you get your stuff. I said, he came and Cubby came. And they took, because I had brought some stuff from my apartment. Well, I had one of the church sisters bring some stuff from my apartment to the house. So I had like a little TV set. Did I have my computer? I can't remember. I had a few things. No, I didn't have a laptop, but I had a few things, blankets, pillows, things like that. Clothes, honey, we packed that stuff up. They put it in their 2 cars. I hobbled out that, and they came and we got my stuff up out of there. I said, and actually she dropped me at an appointment. Cubby picked me up. And then I told her, I said, I will, and honey, I locked the latch, put her key on the thing, and I was gone. I think it was either that night or the next day when all this happened. I was gone. I was only there for a couple of days. And the foolery, I was done. And because the behavior was so foul, that did it for me. I never wanted to see her again. And that there was more stuff. So this was like the final straw, because there were things that happened even when my grandfather died. So my grandfather died, my name was on them being able to get to their money. They couldn't even get to the money. Not my uncle, he didn't get nothing. Well, they gave him a house, but he didn't get really anything. but their name, and my mother and my uncle talked to me crazy in a situation within that. And I'm thinking, what the heck is wrong with you? I'm the one that got to sign off to go get your CD, my aunt's CD, and my CD from my grandfather. Who the hell are you talking to? Crazy. She just crazy. So that's one. And then the other problem I have is the lack of compassion from the two siblings to say, hey, man, I really hate that happened to you. I warn you about your father. I ain't never, and one of them, he got 2 kids. Don't take them kids around that man. The other one, the wife was doing the ancestry, which I get it. And when you're investigating, you're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it was like I warned him about him, and then she tells me when I talked to her at the table, and it still bothered me. Oh, we're getting ready to, I guess, to reach out to him. And girl, you might just want to do whatever you do through ancestry and leave that crazy Negro and that family alone. They're freaking weird. And I don't even know that you would want to associate with that. But there was also no remorse for the thing that happened. When Nikki told me what happened to her, it's like, dude, I've been through this, and I'm sorry you had to go through it too. Now, I'm not the one who did this to her, but there is a level of compassion you have whenever any kind of weird abuse happens. So no, Flatbed, I can't say she cared. I don't know that I think that. I don't think that at all. I think she didn't get the fight she wanted. Because every time with me, I realized that's her thing. She was the bully and I was her punching bag. And when I did ask her, as I straight up asked her about what Miss Pearlie had told me about her accusing me of an affair with a grown Negro, I didn't say that. Well, first of all, that woman ain't got no reason to lie on you. And secondly, she didn't live in the house. So how would she have known any of this? Unless somebody told her, and that had to be you. I'm just saying. My other issue is when the family members want you to come sit at the dinner table with these fools. And kind of like with situation with Nikki. And so like my aunt, my mother's sister, she's aware. I made her aware, my 2 brothers aware. My aunt then says, well, because there was a point when I told her my biological father died. I said, you might want to let Francis know. I'm still being considerate, okay? Because you had a kid with this dude, right? So let him know that he's dead. And so my aunt's like, well, I'm just tired of this stuff with you and your mother. You need to forgive her. Who the hell are you talking to? First of all, let's pump the brakes and back up. First of all, Shannon didn't beat Shannon. Shannon didn't let the pervy husband come in and be Chester the molester. That's not me. Your sister did that. First of all, forgiveness don't mean I got to go interact with foolery. Facts. There's a lady on here, and I kind of struggle with some of her stuff, but she does have some very good points, and she's on my Facebook. I'll see if I can find a video she did that talks about forgiveness. And forgiveness is, and this is what I believe people really twist biblically. They think that when you forgive somebody, you're supposed to be sitting in the midst of the madness. Let me help you with something. When Jesus dealt with the Pharisees and Sadducees, knowing they were rude, evil, malicious, and plotting against him, he wasn't hanging out with them and say, let's sit down and have dinner together. He wasn't. He did say, forgive them for they do not know what they do, because they're crazy. And he's saying that and to all of the folks that were part of that, but the Pharisees, Sadducees, they didn't know the level of what they did. They're going to know in a little bit, once we all stand before judgment seat. But they didn't know at the time, but it's not going to be good. Forgiveness is for you. We're not to hold resentment and bitterness. Otherwise, it creates someone who's like my mother, right? So forgiveness is for you. Now, if the person you forgive, comes and says, so me and my mother could probably have a relationship. If she turned around and would say, hey, Shannon, I was young, I was broken, I had a lot of issues. I wasn't a good mother. I'm sorry for being so abusive to you. I'm sorry for not protecting you. I'm sorry for how I was to you. And yes, I realize I had issues. I'm older now. I see this, and there's areas that I still have to, because she's going to work on that till she dies, but she's not going to work on it. Instead, People tend to function in the dysfunction. The same way, there's a show, and I brought it up before, I think it's called The Greeleys. It's about a church family. I can't even watch it. It's too triggering for me. I think I watched maybe the first or second episode, and I can't watch it. It messes me up because I get mad because I'm a victim. So, and I like to use it because it's actually, whoever wrote it did some excellent research, but I can't. But it's very typical, and that's what we're seeing within the American family right now. That's why my little private group, I tell them, this is what we're seeing with the American family. We know we got a ped. We know that's what that individual is. And then some. We know. But you got a portion of the family that thinks you should sit at the table and just have dinner with this individual and just overlook it. There's no compassion for any of the victims. You sit there and you want to still interact with the victimizer, and the victimizer is unrepentant of any of their behaviors. Why am I going to go sit at a table with somebody who still has those onboard active demons? Because they're active because you're not working on them. If you were working on them, you'd be repentant of it. You're not working on them, so therefore they're active. Okay, you have not apologized. When a person's an alcoholic, they go through, or a drug addict, they go through a step program, and they have to go back and face their stuff. The reason you got to face it because you're meaning that you're looking at the man in the mirror and realizing, I got to go deal with all the crap I've done. I've got to go ask for forgiveness for all the crap I've done, and I got to continue to work on it, because until you address it, you're not working on it. It's on board and you're okay living in it. A lot of people function in their dysfunction and they're okay with it. She can be okay with that. And I forgive her, but that don't mean you're going to I'm not going to come sit at the table with you. I'm not going to come in a room and deal with that. I'm not. And I have problems with the family members who sit up there and expect you to sit up in the room with Chester the molester. I have a problem with that. With abuser, I have a problem with that. And act as if nothing happens. Oh, you need to get over it. Get over it? Girl, let's go and do the laundry list. Now, some people think forgiveness, I'm not Jesus. I'm not. Some people, you're just supposed to forget about it. There's no way. Not in our human element. God knows all the stuff. He knows our history. Otherwise, he wouldn't have listed histories of men and women in the Old Testament and up to current. The histories of their life, the good, the bad, the ugly. He wouldn't have listed it. Oh, well, it says, yes, this is true, meaning that's the level of forgiveness. He's not going to hold it against you. I forgive you. I don't necessarily have to hold it against you, but I will not let you come back into my sphere with foolishness. And especially if you're coming back to continue. This is why I try to equate. It's no different than the female who's dating an abusive male. He beats her. He gets out. He comes back to, oh, baby, I won't do it no more. And she goes, oh, I forgive you. And let him come back in and he beats you again. He hasn't changed. And if they can't verbally, and then the verbal words need to match up with actions. If those two things aren't rolling in the same vein, you need to be done. Toxic. Love the name. Toxic drama, toxic Q drama. I'm gonna put you in the queue of drama and throw you the peace sign and keep it pushing. So no, I don't think that she was, I really believe that her issue was she didn't get the fight she wanted. She thought that I was going, I'm absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then I called later, read everything that I had about the issue, and then put her on phone block. And that bothered her. She tried all sorts of shenanigans in order to try to come back and say something. She couldn't. I put that phone on block. Basically, you come to this house, because she knew where I lived at this point. You come to my apartment, unannounced, I will go ahead and put an order prohibiting harassment, and I will have the police haul you up out of here. I was done. I'm done. So no, I will not be sitting at a table with this individual. And if she apologized, I would have to go and see that the actions have changed. I don't know that they have. Because to me, you can admit your stuff. Most people, some people don't. We all got stuff, but there are some people you done so much mess, and some people can't look in the mirror, and they're too broken. I got an associate of mine, he has a greed issue. He manipulated a hefty amount of money out of a family member. Okay, it was supposed to be distributed to all his siblings and him. He manipulated that stuff so smooth. And I know exactly what he did because he told me. I'd keep him, but it was a control thing and a greed thing. But he's a person who lives in a lot of lies and delusions. And as I've gotten, that's what I said, that's a friendship I've let go, because as I've sat back and realized, even if you help me, there's things. He brought COVID into his house. It took out one of the family members. Um, and because he couldn't keep his butt in the house, and he didn't want to do autopsies because he knew what it was going to tell him. You the one who couldn't keep your butt out the street, out there visiting, because so you brought the COVID in with other elderly people in the house. Now folks is dead, and you won't get folks tested. Yeah, okay, look, we like to live in lies and delusions, and we like to bring foolery into things. So there's people who live in it. Just, it's crazy, but that's what happens. Yeah, and both are and to toxic, to your point, both forgiveness and repentance are both required. But if people don't repent, you still are required to forgive, and you also are required to repent for your stuff. We all do stuff. However, if they refuse to repent, especially when you're in massive abusive situations, and in general, but in those kinds, and those people won't repent, don't sit here and be the woman letting the dude back in the house to beat the hell out of you. Why? And you know, it blows my mind. So going back to the Greeleys, this is a show. I think it's called Greeleys, whatever. I think Oprah or whoever was part of the production, or her Harpo, whatever, did it. I can't watch the show. Like I said, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Lynn Whitfield is in it, and I can't remember who the other ones. So the storyline that I was able to get from what I did watch, and I can't watch it because it angers me, it triggers stuff. It just really, it doesn't sit good with me. But it's very, what I'm finding, and this is something that I do want to research once I get into the counseling, the behavioral counseling portion. I want to understand what creates the support system for the pedophile, or we don't even have to do pedophile, the victimizer, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, sexual, whatever abuse. And there are those people around them knowing, fully aware of what they are, fully aware of their actions, fully aware of what they've done, and they act as if nothing has happened. Lynn Whitfield plays this role, knowing, she is fully aware, knowing exactly that her brother had issues, right? I think it's her brother in this show. Her brother, and this is a church family from what I understand. Her brother's a petty, right? Getting there. Toxic, I'm getting there. The brothers are petty, okay? She has 2 daughters, well, no, 2 daughters, I think, in this. One of the daughters is deceased, and from what I gathered, again, I didn't finish watching the show enough, but I gathered suicidal due to the abuses. And I believe that the other daughter who comes back to help with the church is also one of his victims, but has not truly dealt with it. They having this big family dinner because the daughter has come back to help with the ministry. The daughter comes back and brings her daughter with her. Absolutely the hell not. The cycle continues. First of all, you shouldn't be at the table. That's number one. Because petty uncle's there and you got a baby girl you got to protect. Again, there's something in this that's weird. And it's psychological, it's weird, it's spiritual, it's got a whole bunch of dynamics to it. And I've been trying to understand it because I see it now in the larger scale of what's going on in our political realm, right? And I said to even my little Christian group that kind of do some ministry stuff to, and I have a smaller group I deal with, what we are dealing with is family issues. This is the dysfunctional family, and this is the family that will say it's okay for Chester to sit at the table, and you got to overlook that, and you just need to just deal with it. Yeah, we know Chester is crazy. There's a girl, she got a very strong mouth, but she did a rap, and if y'all can find it where she did it on a radio station. And I think, is this the one where her mom and them are in the background, which kind of watching mom, I kind of was like, oh, I just saw some dynamics that told me a lot. And I could tell the baby's very broken, very, very broken. She does a rap, and the name of the girl's name is B is for Better. But the rap, it speaks volumes of this weird mindset. Also, it speaks volumes on a lot of levels, what she says. And if you listen to the words, I know Chester hates non-white people. Oh, are you talking about the one on top? The political stuff? Are you talking about that? Okay. The dynamics are in this case of the petty stuff, it doesn't matter race. It doesn't. It honestly doesn't. This thing, the sexual perversion of a petty, it doesn't. This is crosses race barriers. It also, it's psychological. It's spiritual. I want to understand the support system, and that when I say support system, I'm not talking the support system for the victim, because the victim basically gets the middle finger. Nobody cares about the victim. They either align with the victimizer in the family, and I'm saying family, and while these guys aren't on a blood relationship in the political arena, it is still the American family. So we have people in our American family that are okay with this individual. Matter of fact, they will justify the perversion or ignore it and still expect us to sit at the table and or make excuses for the individual. Okay? This is the same with the issue with my mother and other people that are like her. And they tend to make excuses for the Chesters, regardless of their ethnicity. This particular issue with children and pervs and the people that support them, the family members that know about it and do nothing and don't even acknowledge the victim and still socialize with the victimizer like, hey, dude, we cool. Let's go get a coffee or a glass of wine or a beer and everything's good. Oh, well, that XYZ got raped, molested. You did all sorts of weird pedophilia stuff to him. Oh, well. Oh, well. This is the stuff that happens in the family. I've been on here many, y'all. But and I want to understand the support system. How do you, and I'm not trying to say hate, and I'm not trying to say they can't interact with that individual. What I am going to say is there seems to be no compassion for the victim. And matter of fact, it seems to be an attitude of a certain group within the family, whether the American family or the personal family, that this is okay, oh well. And it's not only with this, there's other stuff. Like I said, I got a buddy who basically, he didn't rip him up. Well, yeah, kind of did. He set himself up where he's controlling every piece of money from one of the siblings and changed the original intent of a trust, while the person who was the person who set the trust, who the money came from, was full-blown Alzheimer's. Full-blown. Now he's controlling millions. Millions. And the statement to me was, I won't let my family members starve. Ninja, they were supposed to get this money. What the hell are you talking about? There's a whole bunch. And I've just seen it. And as you sit back, and then I see these people, and I'm thinking, how can't y'all know? And some people know. They know. It's weird. The family dynamics are weird. So I am anti-family. I don't really interact with any of my family. Then for Monty's people, Grumpy's people, I met the extended side, his daddy's side, at the funeral, and then understood why the level of crazy is in my father's family, because there's a level of absolutely insanity. And my father had, to me, he said he wasn't a smart man, but he also had tempers. Like, I have a really, really bad temper. Honestly, I do. God has really, if it wasn't for God's hands, I probably would outdo my brother who's sitting in prison. I might be. And the sad part is all of the abuse that my mother was doing after I met my father's family and then also dealt with some of the stuff going on in my head, God got me out that house in time. Because there were things I thought in conjunction with her because of the level of abuse, it was gonna be me or her. And I'll be honest, if my mind would have went to where it was really going based on the abuses in that household, I could probably be sitting in juvie for something not good or on death row. And I didn't realize until I met my father's people, ooh, God, thank you. You got me out of there in time to where I have a decent life. I have my own issues, but I have a decent life because that woman was pushing with the level of abuse I was dealing with in that household, from her just physically, mentally, emotionally, and then having to deal with the pervy stepfather too. Man, she didn't know. We have to be careful also what we lay down with, because you don't know what people are inheriting and what they're dealing with. And when I met my father's people, them are some dark people on his father's side. Them folks is dark. I think one of his cousins killed the son because the son ended up messing with the woman he was messing with. So he killed his own son. These some dark folk. And I knew one of them. I had just met some of the other ones as I was at the funeral. And when I met the other ones, I put them all on block. Them some dark people. And when I got home, I had a prayer session with the Lord. Thank you for having your hands on me, because I know some things that went through my mind with the abuses I was going through in the household, and I didn't know where they were coming from until I actually got to, because I didn't grow up with my biological father. Once I got to know the people, my mother is very blessed that I got out that house in time before she actually snapped something mentally, and I am a blessed too, because I would have spent my life in prison, because it would have been one of us. No, my mother did not. She didn't abuse my brothers. The youngest one is her favorite. Um, the middle one, which is the oldest of the two, she didn't abuse them. Again, very much the mother is raising the boys as if they are her man. And my youngest brother, he could do really no wrong. Back when he's a little bit, oh, Chrissy, this, and my best friend, she witnessed it, and she's like, girl, she witnessed it more. But yeah, no, very much, there was a very much difference, and there's a 10-year difference between, so there's a 9 and 10-year difference between me and those two boys. Um, no, she raised them in the sense, I think, and especially after I left, because they were I did everything for them. Um, and my aunt, her sister, who's the one to tell me, oh, you need to go back and forgive, but she also in the same breath said, they will never know what all you did for him. You're still breathing. You need to sit my two brothers down and tell them. You need to tell what you saw. You need to tell what you know. That's what she said on the side. And again, we're talking about both sides of my family highly dysfunctional. Both. In different ways. Both jacked up. And what we come from is very, very key. That's why a lot of times I can sit, and as soon as I identify, and the problem is there are people that like to function in their dysfunction. I have and I'm not speaking with her anymore either. I kind of had to throw her aside. I have an associate of mine. We worked together at a company we became kind of friends at. She came from Compton, California. Her and her sister have different fathers. Her mother married the father of the sister, so she's the oldest sisters. Her mother forced her and her sister to be around the stepfather, the sister's father, real father, family. I don't know, trying to create a relationship with them. They did not like him, okay, because he's shady. So they treated her and her sister really bad. For her, she doesn't realize she has a childhood trauma. And the childhood trauma she has triggered certain things about her. Money, a very broken person in certain ways. But because she has normalized it, she doesn't see it as an issue. So even in your interaction with her kids, your interactions with her, she's very vengeful. She's different. She's very different. And there's a lot of issues there. Her mother put her and her sister in a very detrimental situation because you're forcing those kids to be in a situation they shouldn't have been in. So she got to a point that when she had her children, you're not going to treat me this. You're not going to treat my boys to where there's difference. So you got to do what you do for one, you do for the other one. And we'll call you and kind of go off. It's weird. It's a very weird. But I realize it's triggered from the traumas from her childhood and how she was raised. Because when she told me this story, I'm like, oh, that's where it comes from. Everything stems from something. The problem is that people begin to function in the dysfunction. The dysfunction becomes their normal. They normalize it. They don't. They normalize it. It becomes normal for them. And so, unfortunately, you end up being like my associate, and then she's hell on wheels. Vengeful, evil, malicious. That baby would get you back. Hell on wheels. She talked about a boyfriend who did something back when she was in Compton. She hit that nigga with a car. she vengeful. And went back home, watched TV, act like nothing happened. Her mother got the call from the boy's mama, said, "Oh girl put old boy in the hospital." Now he's still alive, but vengeful. You what you do to children, it really has an impact. And this is why I really also think it's key that people need to, don't have kids. I'm born out of wedlock. My parents were never married, and unfortunately, it is what it is. And I even had to ask God, why did you let me be born to these two crazy but people? And what came in my spirit, you don't stand to add to, basically, you're not the person who created this whole world. And I realize now that the traumas that I've gone through, I'm able to talk to a person like Nikki, who did 8 years in prison and has a really jacked up family similar to my situation, with a pervy step uncle. And she also had, family members that had drug issues, her biological father. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics, and I'm able to speak into her life and God to use me that way. It's not that I'm better than, it's just that as I get through my hurdles, I can bless somebody else to get through theirs. So sometimes, in order to speak to the things that were allowed, and I'm not saying God causes them. That's the other thing. We tend to sometimes, if we don't understand spiritual things, we tend to think God only exists by himself, but we forget about Satan. And we forget that they're both operating right now. And there's going to be a point where it's all going to come to a head. But because we made choices, at least our foreparent, Adam and Eve, made choices to interact with this fool, it did impact the human population. And so we have a course that we have to go through in order to come to acknowledgement and to truly make decisions, spiritually, so forth. And most of us, we don't want to do that. And so that's why, like I said, right now, we're looking at this madness we in right now with this grown child throwing temper tantrums and, narcissistic from hell. We're looking at that. And, and the outcome of it is not good. My biological father was a heavy narcissist. Matter of fact, I called the one on top, his brother. I said, I see your brothers on, the first time old boy was in, I see your brothers on TV. My father was a compulsive liar. It's everything about narcissists. If you tell them to go right, they go left. Tell them to go up, they go down, sideways, some other way. And they thinking they going to get at you or piss you off just to get attention, because you're not going to tell them what to do. It's their way of trying to control things. And they will do things even if it's detrimental to themselves, because they're crazy. And they don't care. They'll cut nose off to spite face. Biological father. My father did it up till he died. He did it up till he died. That's honesty. I had a strong thing to get back here. I would have tried to help him, but he was such a dick. I went with what the Lord showed me, get back to Arizona, and there were events that happened from COVID and work and all sorts of stuff. And the truck company I was working for at the time, it actually no longer exists. Everything happens for a reason. And then later on, Grumpy dies in his house by himself, on his bed, butt naked in a towel. I guess he got out the shower, laid down and croaked. And he went into, because narcissists, they if nobody pays, that is their drug. Is what people do for them, paying attention to them. It's how they deal with their low self-worth and low self-esteem. Every narcissist is low self-esteem, low self-worth. Yes, my mother. Now, I don't know if she falls under the female narcissist category, because there's other things, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked that she ties into that. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch. And even with dealing with Grumpy, there was stuff, it was all about him. He had, there was possibly another daughter. And he tells me that some woman he had messed with says, and I don't know if it's true or not, he had another girl. And she had a baby by him. And she's saying that she gave this child to one of her uncles to raise. I said, absolutely the hell not. Grumpy didn't care. I said, because in my mind, what I went through, this, a man raising, and I'm not saying a man can't raise a kid, but I got red flags, especially if it's a female. I'm not saying it don't happen to boys, because I have friends of mine who are guys who were molested by their daddies, raped actually by their daddy and daddy's friends. I can tell you stories. Like I said, along my journey, I've met people. And I didn't realize when I'm meeting the people that I'm meeting, it's for this reason. And sometimes I had to speak into their lives. To say you went, it's like my best friend said, to say that you've gone through all you went through and the abuses you suffered under your mother and what she allowed to happen to you, she said, I'm shocked you're not sitting back somewhere rocking back and forth crazy as hell. Now, I got some crazy. You come for me the wrong way. But the hand of God is on my life. Anyway, y'all, I done been on here a long, long time. Anybody see this? Y'all drop this in the comments. Be praying for our country. Toxic, welcome. I happy you're here. I hope it blessed you. I don't know. This is where when I prayed, Lord, whatever we're gonna talk about, we're gonna talk about. I'll show y'all some garden stuff. I do want to say I was supposed to be doing a live several weeks back. Well, the 1 week I thought I was doing it, that I didn't do it. I thought that was Super Bowl week. So I said, oh, I'll do it the next week. That was Super Bowl weekend. So then I was like, okay, Super Bowl weekend. What was next? It was a holiday. It's some kind of holiday that came up next. And then when I realized it was, I don't know if it was Valentine's or something like that. I'm like, oh, people ain't going to be on here for this, right? So now I was like, Shannon, you got to get on there and do that. But I will take y'all out to the garden. I'm going to be redoing some of it. The pepper plants produced. I got buckets of pepper plants. And I did some videos to y'all telling y'all I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to do the live this week. And we're showing y'all the garden. I'm going to be moving some stuff. So I have an eggplant that I put over here in the bed that I put next to the door. And he's still growing, but I think I need to put him in a pot by himself. He's an Asian eggplant. And he's growing, but he hasn't produced any eggplants yet. The other eggplant that I had that was like him, it took him a little bit, and then he's like, child, that plant, he's growing. And I got, I think 3 or 4 eggplants on him right now that are coming. I done harvested 2 eggplants from him. And it's Asian. I think it's a ping tung or something like that eggplant. The other one, I forgot what its name is, but I got it. And it's just a plant I got from Home Depot. But I'm going to move him. And then if you do grow the Asian eggplants, and I'm not sure if this is the case for all eggplants, the first time I ever grew eggplants, is you do need to do gloves when you work with them. Their leaves are very sticky. It's almost kind of thorny. Because if you put your hand, it's almost, I don't know, if you can't really see them, but it's there. And when I was like, oh, I grabbed my hand back. And so I realized, oh, I'm going to have to wear some gloves because this little thing got some thornies on it. But he's going to get moved. And then I got a bunch of seeds over here I got from Dollar General. And then I'm going to do an order here tonight of some extra seeds. And then we're going to get ready for summer because actually, as of February, we've been hitting 80s and 90s. Today it was, I think, 89 degrees here in Phoenix. And we really didn't even get a real winter. I didn't really get any lettuce or any of that. I do have a little tomato plant out there. I did get some little tomatoes. He did okay. He's still going because I think it's a indeterminate, which means they can just keep growing. They can go year round, especially depending on your climate. Determinants are they basically have a determined time period. They pop off some tomatoes and then it's done. And they die out, and you die off or you pull them out. But my goal is 3 tomato plants right now is probably what I'm leaning towards. Well, it might be 4 because I have one I bought from Home Depot. I'm going to be planting it. I have some seeds over here. I want some Romas. And then there's a little one that I saw on one of my garden channels in my gardener. I'm going to try to grow it. And so I have stuff I'm going to probably do by seed. But I'll be out there working on it. Like I said, Saturday and Sunday I'm off normally. On the week of the 20th, I'll be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'll be doing that. And let me preface this. I am not trying to tell anybody to hate your parents, family members, or even the pedophile or the molester or chester or abuser or whatever you went through. We do have to forgive. that don't mean you go sit at the table with them. That doesn't mean that I think, oh, well, he's XYZ person over this in this position and he's right. Absolutely not. You know, we have to forgive. And some people get mad at me, especially being African American, when I say I feel sorry for old boy. I feel sorry for the guy on top. He's crazy as a box of rocks, but he's a product of something. And as you listen, you go watch his niece, Mary, with the last name. And it was funny because I had told my biological father when he first was in, and I told him, I said, this, and this, and this is what I think happened with old boy. And so then when Mary came on the scene, the niece, and she started telling about old boy, I didn't know. I'm in the truck over the road, and my biological father, he called me. Grumpy called me. He's like, hey. I was like, yeah. He said, you heard of this Mary, blah, blah, blah? You know, the last name. I said, no. He said, this is old boy's niece, and everything you told me you thought, she just said happened. Victims know victims. People who have been jacked, if you have the eyes and allow God to show you, he'll show you. It takes a lot, and I realize too that a lot of victims and a lot of people who've grown up in abuses, they tend to have different glasses and they see things through different glasses. I got friends of mine whose mothers were crackheads and took them in some very bad scenarios and situations. I know one, she was prostituting herself for places to stay as a teenager because the drug situation and stuff in the household was bad. I asked her, I said, were they treating you for drugs? And she telling me, I don't remember. That tells me it's probably a child trauma or that it did happen, and that's why she got out. You don't, and she won't tell you that she was prostituting herself, but what she described was prostitution. You trading your body for a place to stay and sleeping with ninjas for a place to stay. That's prostitution. You getting paid one way or another. Love her mama dirty draws. Absolutely adores her. And I'm not trying to tell her she's to hate her mother. That her mother's damaged. I saw her mother when I was in Texas. That baby damaged, and I could tell she messed up and crazy. Same way I saw this little rapper Be Is For Better. And I could see that baby is broken. And I kind of had a feeling about mama. And again, broken people produce broken people. The problem is that some folks, they live in their break and they function in dysfunction. Some of them don't want to realize they're dysfunctional. Some of them don't want to deal with the dysfunction. It's too hard in their mind to deal with it, but you don't get freedom until you deal with it. You're not able to even ask for repentance or forgiveness until you deal with it. Same as alcoholism. Same thing. Until I actually could step back. And like I said, everything triggered at 40. When the family member first told me of what my mother had accused me of, I was 15 years old. It wasn't computing because most people don't think your mother is that wicked. Okay? And this jacked up craziness I was raised up in, it was my normal. That's the other part. A lot of people grow up in a very dysfunctional and abnormal situation, and it becomes their normal. And it is nowhere near normal. It is crazy as hell. Maybe how people on top, mama can be dead and buried on a golf course. And you still doing stuff wicked with your daddy. And there might be some question marks about mama's death. I don't know, I'm just saying it just seemed a little weird to me. But the abnormal becomes your normal. So even though you know your particular family member is crazy, you'll go sit at the table just like the Greeleys. Like I said, whoever wrote that was on point. And mama defended Chester the molester, brother. The daughter said, why is he here? Why is he even part of the ministry? Why is he at the table? You know what he did to my sister, your daughter. Heck, and I think she's going to tell him, you know what he did to me. Matter of fact, in the show, he done raped some other little girl in the church. Child. We can continue this conversation. If y'all want more, we can talk more in the next one. I'll probably do one, maybe the week I'm off, that week of the 20th. Since I got 4 days, I'll do a Saturday or Sunday. And I'll try to pre-schedule it like I did this one. I'm working on stuff. I am going to start doing my barbecue sauce. It's getting summer. I'm going to have to do it as donations until I get everything fully set up, if anybody interested. we'll talk about that. And I'll probably do some jars of it here, because I do need to get me a side hustle. That's just the facts. And if it can become a full hustle, I'm okay with that. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna get in here and get that together. Right now, I'm getting some stuff. I got a desk that's been here 6 months. It's supposed to be my desk for work. I ain't put it together yet. I'm in my old desk right now, and the old desk I want to get it sold. So this is some of the stuff. I got some goals to get set up. So I'm gonna get my little work office area hopefully set up. And like I said, I don't know. My company's going through stuff. We all started getting hit with the AI thing. They've also done some outsourcing. I don't know if that's going to impact my area. I do think it's going to be impacted. How, I don't know. I do know other areas have been impacted and they've put people into other roles. So they didn't lose their job, but they may have been downgraded into another area. Yeah. Flatbed, thank you, baby. And for school, congratulations. Here's the thing I was going to say before I close this out. And I'm proud of you. Nikki, and like she's very open about that she did prison time, and same crazy family, was with a cousin. She said she was going to the cooler to get a drink in California. The crazy cousin decides to hold up the liquor store or liquor store. I'm saying liquor store. I don't know if it's a liquor store. It was a store. She told me it was a store. I don't know if it's a liquor store, convenience store, wherever. It's in California. He decides to hold it up. She says she did not know anything that this even was going to take place. She going to get a drink out the cooler. All of a sudden, stuff happened. When she realized what's going on, she's out. She starts running. Shots are fired, and she gets hit. I think she gets shot in the back. Everybody was with them. Everybody got time. Cousin got time. Nikki got time. The only person didn't get time was the girlfriend sitting in the car. His girlfriend. I don't know what's left. I don't know what's right. But the baby did 8 years. She was supposed to do a lot longer, but her step grandfather, he stepped in and got her a really good lawyer and was able to get her out. From that time on, Nikki has went to truck. Well, she dealt with the battle of cancer, dealt with that. After the cancer was alleviated, she then went to trucking school. Was doing well enough in trucking school that she was able to buy a house here in Arizona. So she moved from California to Arizona with the grandfather who was going through stuff with the crazy step grandmothers who was married, that he was married to, that has the Chester molested brother. So she moved here to Arizona, bought a house, was going through that. Since then, the grandfather has went back and moved back to California with some of the crazy family members. So Nikki ended up having to sell the house because things started adjusting on her mortgage. She sold it, and then she just started living on the truck and driving the truck across the road. She bought a truck and has been her own owner-op. However, she's getting to that age, and because of the age that is coming, she is, to my understanding, she is, I'm trying to think how best to put this. She started applying and she applied for the post office. So we are praying that her history doesn't hurt her. She was very transparent about it with them. Has been given the job offer, but right now she's going through the background check. So we're hoping that this doesn't stop her because she has not had any criminal activity to my knowledge since getting out. So this was years and years ago now. She's been a citizen. She's a good citizen. She works, does her job, handles her business, running her own business as an owner-op, and that's what she's doing. But she now is at that age where she wants to get to normalcy, 100%. Also, your body and especially females, males eventually too, but females for sure, your body can't do that for long term. So I think Nikki's somewhere in her 40s, early 40s is what I think she is. So I think she's early 40s from what I gather. I know I'm old enough to be her mama probably. And she told me that looks like that remind her of a mom. And the weird thing is I worked with her cousin before I interacted with her. She met me here through social media because of the trucking channel and reached out to me and we started talking. And I've talked to some of y'all across the phone and we started talking across the phone. And then I had mentioned the name and then come to find out this is her cousin, and me and Joe worked with her cousin at Charles Schwab back in the day when I worked for Schwab. And so, and that cousin may also be one of the molest victims of this child. Because after she talked to me and told me stuff and then told me who she's related to, there were things from the interaction I had with that person that told me I had a vibe, because that person was so promiscuous and there were other things that they would do and say. on sexual levels that told me, oh, you've probably been a molest victim. Yeah, I got that big time. And then once I talked, I'm like, okay, 2 and 2 equal 4. And it made sense because she said there were several children in the family that this butthole had done this to. So, and again, sister bring it to the table and think that everybody's supposed to, and you just supposed to get over what happened. Oh, well. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. And to me, it's the most sick thing. It's sick of the person who did it. It's sick of the people who support the victimizer and never call the victimizer to account. That's what we have going on right now. That's why I said, when I'm looking at this is the American family. It is the typical American family that supports crazy, even in a family. I'm 57. I ain't gonna say I feel better when I was 25, but I love being older. And I like being older because I'm not about foolishness. And I will be by myself with a dog. And that's the thing. Once we get everything in order here, my goal is to get me. I want to get another Cocker Spaniel. I might get 2. I may get a Cocker Spaniel and a Min Pin, or I may get a Cocker Spaniel and a Jack Russell. Those 2 dogs I really like. I like the Min Pin though. They're sweet. They kill me because they like to sunbathe. But I love my little Min Pins. They sweet because my play niece Vicky has the Min Pin and he loves both her Min Pins. Love me. And then Cocker Spaniel, that's just my breed of choice. I love Cocker. They're smart. They're sweet. So I do want another Cocker Spaniel. I got to just see. But I'm going to get everything in order, and then I'll do that. And then, it also helped me with walking a little bit because you have to take them out and walk because I'm in an apartment. I do have a back patio that's fenced in, but it'll help me with walking. Anyway, y'all, I will talk to y'all in a couple of weeks. 2 and 2, be blessed. Peace. Anybody watch this, give us a like, thumbs up, share it out. And then also put in the comments if you have any other topics. This one was just off the cuff. I kind of like, Lord, let's open the door. And I'm just going to close this with, you do have to forgive, but it does not mean that you invite the crazy to your house. Forgiveness does not mean that you have to allow people open their butt cheeks and take a dump on you. There is a point where you need to set boundaries. And some of those boundaries means not dealing with folks anymore, praying for them for a distance and hope they get it right. I don't hate my mother. I hope she gets it right. I did hate her. As I start looking at what created her, I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for her sister. And don't think just because you may be doing better than someone else in the family, don't think that, oh, you weren't impacted because those abuses. Anytime abuses are happening to children, it's impacting all of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them has residuals. Point blank, period. Yeah, Min Pins love to sunbathe. Absolutely love it, flatbed. Vicky's first one, when I first met him, he was sitting, it's 100-some degrees. He's sitting on the hot concrete pavement like this. Legs stretched out. I'm like, my God, love it. Her one she has now, Henry, she goes, he always want to go outside. He wants to be in the sun. He likes to sunbathe. It's something about those dogs. They love sitting in the sun. It's something that's just something to their, and I just noticed that's a thing about their breed. They love it. And there's a couple other dogs I noticed who love sun. It's like those that like snow and some who like water. Cocker Spaniels can be really water driven. Golden Retrievers, I'm a dog person. Golden Retrievers can be water driven. And it's true to some of their nature. The Min Pin part is curious to me because I didn't know. Again, I'd never had a Min Pin. It's just Vicky's 2 men. Well, I had another associate of mine who had a Min Pin, and she, I forgot her name, Penny. Penny liked to sunbathe. She would go on this patio and just lay out in this heat. Loved it. They love it. And so I'm thinking it's something specific to the breed. You probably have to research it more, but there's just behaviors you find in breeds. And that's one I did find is that Min Pins love sunbathing. Facts. Okay, good deal. Flatbed. Which one? The Trucker Doll one? Is that the one you sent it to? My Trucker Doll email? I'm going to create a new email. I was helping a customer and he had an email and I'm like, I loved it. It'll have the doll in it, but he had something in front. I was like, bro, he's a white dude, but he was cool. I was like, I love your email. And he started laughing. I'm like, this is just freaking genius. It was genius. Y'all will see. It'll be on there when I redo everything. Anyway, peace, y'all. Flatbed, toxic. Who else came in? Did anybody else come in here? There was some folks watching. I think Tanya was in here. Was Tanya in here? I can't remember. I thought I saw Tanya. I think Tanya was in here earlier. Whoever. Anyway, peace, y'all. And hit me with any comments or any topics y'all might want to talk about in the next one, or we'll just flow like we just did and catch up. I'll probably do some video of the garden because I haven't done that. Like I said, I was supposed to be doing it, and child, it's been between the school stuff starting and getting that done. But I will tell y'all more of those dynamics later. I should be done with school, though. I think that class ends in the April, so May. So once I have the degree, I'll show it to y'all. And like I said, I'm not going to do the marching part. I am going to get the cap and get the gown, and then I'll get the thing, and I'll probably have somebody do a framing of everything for me, and get it framed up. Because I'm probably taking to Michael's or one of these places that do framing and have them do a framing for it. I am going to end up, last thing, getting a new iPhone. So our bonus prayerfully is coming, and this phone needs to be replaced. I am not getting the 17. I am going to go through Apple. And I want to get the iPhone 14. I kind of researched some of the older ones, but if you go to Apple and get their recycled phones or refurbished phones, they give it the same warranty as a brand new phone. So right now I'm struggling with the 512 or the 1 terabyte. I really want the 1 terabyte because it's only $100 and some, just a little under 200, like $150, $170 more. But yeah. Anyway, y'all be blessed, 2 and 2. Be safe. I will check in with y'all the weekend of the 20th. I'll post it, but it's probably a Sunday. I'm thinking it'll be a Sunday. I might do it on a Friday. Who knows? Because since I'm going to be out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I might do it that Friday. I don't know. But likely Sundays. Sundays are just easier because at least I have 2 days of rest. Anyway, 2 and 2, y'all be blessed. Peace.